So when you're trying to focus on what the most important thing is for the business, the mistake that I was making for a very long time is not thinking with the end goal and what's my definition of done. So this was common feedback that I always got. Like, team members are like honest with me, and one of the honest pieces of feedback they were given to me like months ago was like, I know that you say grow, but like what does that look like? There wasn't much specificity in it. And a couple months ago I started working with Bram Connolly. We also work with Scott as well from Hindsight Leadership, and because they both come from a military and defense background, pretty high ranking there as well, we actually developed like a campaign plan for what I want to do this year. Because if you don't start with the end in mind, you'll just do whatever feels like a priority in your limited scope of what's in my email inbox, what's in my Slack, what am I just thinking about this month, or even just this week or today. But you won't think about where do we want to be in a year's time, where do we want to be in 3 years' time, where do we want to be in 5 years' time. And so what you have to do first, most importantly, is define your definition of done on a wider, longer time horizon. So we have Operation Yeehaw, which is our campaign plan for 2026 and breaking into the US. Now, what I'm going to be working on over the next month is like, what are the next 3 years? Actually, they're on the whiteboard over there. I started planning it out. What do the next 3 years look at, and how does Operation Yeehaw fit into that? So once this is done, like, what's the next campaign plan? They all kind of stack up on each other. But just to bring it back to this year, so we call like, here's the end in mind. And so I did it on the whiteboard like 2 months ago. The left is today, the right is the end of this year. And I just wrote down the definition of done. It's like, we're doing workshops here, it's this many people, this is the org chart. And then you just reverse engineer from that. And I'm not going to share it because obviously it's like our private fucking campaign plan. But we had different lines of operation. So there's like a marketing line, there's a hiring line, there's a workshops line, there's like our foundation line. There's different phases, which for us are typically different months. It might be 2 months at the same time. And all we do is like, all right, if this is here, what are all the events that need to happen in this particular order in the lead up to it? So for one of them was like test US ads. And then the next thing was like hire US sales reps. But then there's also decision points. So there's, I think, 5 key decision points along this campaign plan where I'm like, okay, do we commit to hiring our first ad specialist? And there's criteria for that. If the criteria is like, it's combinations of like cost per acquisition and stuff like that, how many seats we've filled. There's criteria for, do we hire US sales reps? And it's basically, if the US cost per call booking is 20% higher than the Australian one, fix that before you hire sales reps. You have a marketing problem, not a sales problem. And so there's all these different criteria. And this has been super useful for me because I have a billion fucking ideas. And I said to Bram, this has been so helpful for me because it helps me focus. Because whenever I get an idea, I can just look at this campaign plan. It's just on a single A4 page, it's just a landscape piece of paper, and go, does this idea support one of the triangles on this grid? And if the answer is no, we just don't fucking do it, right? But then in the odd instance, I'm like, actually, yeah, that helps something over here. I'm like, cool, we can allocate resources to that now. But if you don't get clear on what your definition of done is, you'll just do a bunch of stuff that feels productive, but if you were to map out your progress, you kind of just like, you're like a little fucking cockroach that just like runs around in a fucking circle. It doesn't know what to do. Whereas if you know, I just need to do this next, I just need to do this next, I just need to do this next. Like, for example, just yesterday, we finalized our forecast for the next financial year, starting next month. It's June. July is the start of the Australian financial year. Literally all I had to fucking do is just wait. It's just like, but it's like, just hit this number this month. All right, done. Now hit these numbers this month. Done. It's like, it's honestly, getting rich is fucking boring. It's just like it's old as math equations, but you just had to do them consistently and know what math equations matter. Because there's a lot of things you can do in business. There's very, 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 very few things that actually move you to where you want to go. But if you don't know where you want to go first, you'll just run around in a circle.